Hey there everybody, it's your boy Kibaro, and today we're going to talk about our Nico 5-star unit, Keqing. Let's go dig into it. So I have 3 teams that I build around Keqing. So it's Keqing, Fischl, Xiangling, and Xingqiu is the first team. This is more of a high DPS kind of team. I use Fischl over here to have elemental resonance of high voltage. This gives Keqing like almost to 100% uptime on ult. Xiangling complements Keqing with regards to fire and lightning, also to helps on the elemental resonance of high voltage. It only affects if you have superconduct overloaded and electrocharge to get like a 100% chance electro-elemental particle. Xingqiu gives a damage reduction buff to Keqing. Also on his ult, he gives hydro damage to Keqing as well every time Keqing hits a target. Also heals. Xingqiu gives like a 6% of his HP every time an elemental particle, like an elemental sword from his skill, gets used. So every time you use Xingqiu's skill, he has like 3 swords. So one sword can heal Keqing for like 6% HP. So it's a maximum of like 18% HP heal every 20 seconds. Because Xingqiu's skill lasts for like 20 seconds. So what if you don't have Xingqiu? You can change Xingqiu to Diluc to get like an elemental resonance of fire as well. So you can have like increased attack by 25%. So you can have like a Keqing, Fischl, Xiangling, and Diluc, but it will be like on the scarier side because you don't have any heal, you don't have damage reduction. You're forced to use fire and lightning all of the time, and if the enemy has like a fire or a lightning kind of element, you're gonna have to be forced to like use one element to fight that enemy. It's gonna be a hard time for you. So it's much more better to have like 3 elements on a party at all times. So on my second team, I have Keqing, Noelle, Xingqiu, and Barbara. It's more of a high tank kind of team. It's more of Keqing just doesn't die. So with damage reduction on Xingqiu, with heals on Barbara, with shields on Noelle, especially that she's Geo, she gets like extra shields as well. Her shields are based on her defense percentage. I'm going to have like a showcase on Noelle on the next video, just so that you can revolve around the team around Noelle. Because you can change like the DPS here with Keqing, even if you don't have like 100% uptime with regards to hydro, with regards to lightning, high voltage over here. You have no problem because your Keqing just won't die because you have shield, you have damage reduction, you have heals. She has ult. If you have like Constellation 6, Barbara Constellation 6 has a revive. And her ult is like basically like a heal for the whole party. I think that's it. Here's a showcase. On my third team, it's the same with like catching Fischl again. So it's we're banking on the high voltage, but this time I'm mixing both, so more of a high sustain kind of thing. So I said like on the first team, it's better to have like a 3 kinds of team, but on this team, it's more of like high sustain because Xingqiu won't let Keqing die. Barbara will have heals, Xingqiu will have heals, and then Keqing will just have ult have 100% like ult time, like most of the time. With this kind of team, the only downside is you have 2 elements, but this team is like super high sustain just because like you have ults all the time on Keqing. Your Xingqiu and your Barbara will have ults all the time, so you have like Hydro almost 100% uptime as well, just because of like the elemental particles that you pick up because of like, here's a showcase of that. Last but not least, how did I build my Keqing? So with the weapon, I'm only using a 3-star weapon with crit damage 34.5% and base attack 20. This basically implies that I need sustain on my team just because I have to have like a 9% above HP so that I could have increased crit rate by 20%. So the overall stats of my Keqing, I have a 70% crit rate. When I hit Ascension 4, this adds to like 85% with a crit damage of 150. My total attack is 1k currently. This is a testing build. I'm not sure yet if this is like the best optimal build, but I'm trying out different builds around my Keqing right now, and all of my units. My Noelle has defense percentage right now. I'll be working around with it just so that I want to know what kind of builds I could maximize just so to have higher damage. So with this crit rate over here, it's not 100% uptime on my crit, but it's good enough. And then I have Elemental Mastery. If you look at my artifacts, I have a Berserker set of 12% crit and then increase Elemental Mastery by 80. The Elemental Mastery, I did and tried that. I learned it from my friend Zifu, who is from Sanctuary Guild on Epic 7. He told me like his build on Keqing, so I'm trying it out as well. So currently, this gives like an elemental mastery of like plus 55 on top of the plus 80. That's why I have like 135 elemental mastery right now. In regards to my artifacts, so my artifacts have. So currently, this is base HP. This is base attack. This doesn't change. And then on my timepiece, I have a 23% attack. Goblet has 34%. And then my headpiece, I have a 23% crit. So this is where my crit rate comes from. If I have like a 5-star crit rate, I think it's much more better. It depends if whatever I get like later down the road. But I want to build my Keqing on crit rate. I want to try to have like 85% crit rate, so that when I have Ascension 4, I would have like 100% crit rate at all times. Constellation, I have no constellation on my Keqing. This is a work in progress kind of Keqing, so I want to build out teams later down the road. The next unit I'm gonna try out is Noelle. There's Xingqiu as well, because I feel like people are neglecting like Noelle and Xingqiu that much. I don't see like a lot of videos on them, so I'll give you like feedback on what I see between those two, so I could like build around my as well. That's just basically it for now. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you like the video, please subscribe. Hit the like button. Thank you very much for tuning in, everybody. See you around.